So I bought a movie theater. Red carpet, big screen, my name on the lease. I thought I was buying magic. Turns out I was buying a very expensive popcorn stand with a screen attached. I found this out on opening night, the biggest movie of the year. Sold out theater, every single seat full. I stood in the lobby doing the math on how rich I was about to become. I was about to become slightly poorer, actually. Let me explain. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly why a packed theater can lose money, where the real profit is hiding, and why the seat that doesn't sell tonight is gone forever. Before any of that, let's talk about what it actually costs to open the doors in the first place. A single modern digital projector and screen setup can run well into 6 figures, and I needed several screens, not just one. Then there's the seats, the sound systems, the concession equipment, the popcorn machines, the soda fountains, the point of sale systems. For a mid-sized multiplex, total build-out costs commonly stretch into the tens of millions of dollars, once you include the real estate. I remember signing that first big equipment invoice thinking, surely the popcorn makes this back quickly. It did not make this back quickly. Let's start with the part that ruined my opening night. I assumed a full house on the biggest movie of the year meant a truckload of cash for me. Here's the actual deal I signed without fully reading it twice. For a major new release, the distributor can take somewhere between 60 and 80% of the ticket revenue. Not a typo. The studio, not me, takes the majority of the ticket price. There is a sliding scale, and my cut technically improves the longer the movie stays in theaters, which sounds great until you remember nobody's coming to see week 5 of a movie by week 5. So I get my best split right around the time nobody's buying tickets anymore. I like to call this winning the race after everyone else went home. On opening night, the night I thought I'd struck gold, my actual take-home from ticket sales barely covered the electricity bill for that one screening. So the natural question is, why do theaters even bother chasing the huge blockbuster crowds if the studio keeps most of the money? Here's the twist that saved my business and honestly my sanity. I'm not in the movie business. I'm in the snack business that happens to have a movie playing in the background. A popcorn bucket costs me something like 90 cents to make, corn, oil, the bag. I sell that bucket for $8. A fountain drink costs about 50 cents to pour. I sell that for $6. That's a markup of over 1,000%. On a cup of flavored ice water, concession margins routinely run 80 to 90%. Industry-wide, that's basically the highest margin item in my entire building. Meanwhile, my core product, the movie ticket, might only clear a margin in the 20 to 40% range, and that's before I even mention the distributor's cut. So here's the actual business model once you strip away the neon and the red carpet. The movie is the bait, the popcorn is the business. I'm not selling tickets. I'm renting your attention for 2 hours so you'll buy an $8 bucket of corn. Once I understood that, everything about how I run this place changed. I stopped worrying about which movie was playing and started worrying about how fast my concession line moves. If your popcorn line is slow, you're not losing popcorn sales. You're losing sales during the only 20 minutes people will stand in line before showtime. I now think about queue speed the way other business owners think about their entire revenue model, because functionally that's exactly what it is. There's another lever I leaned on hard once I understood the real business: premium formats. Bigger screens, better sound, recliner seats, a few extra dollars on the ticket for the premium experience upgrade. Customers who upgrade to premium formats also tend to spend more at the concession stand, because they've already decided tonight is a special occasion. I also started selling a few seconds of screen time before the movie to local businesses, small pre-show advertising slots. It's a modest stream compared to popcorn, but unlike the movie itself, I keep nearly all of that advertising revenue myself, no distributor involved. I also learned the hard way that the popcorn machine itself is not optional equipment. One Friday night, right before a packed showing, the popper jammed completely. I watched a line of 40 people slowly realize there would be no popcorn that night, and I have never seen that many adults look that personally betrayed. We lost more in refunded concession orders that single evening than we lost on the actual ticket split for the whole weekend. All right, numbers aside, let's talk about the thing that actually terrifies me every single night. A movie theater seat is one of the most perishable products in the entire world of retail. If a seat doesn't sell for the 7 o'clock showing, I don't get to sell it again later. That seat and that revenue is gone forever. Unlike a t-shirt sitting on a shelf, which I can discount and sell next week, an empty seat during a showing is a permanent, unrecoverable loss. And here's the part nobody tells first-time owners. The fixed costs don't care if the seat is empty. I'm paying for staff, the projector, the electricity, and the rent for that screening, whether one person shows up or every single seat is full. So an empty Tuesday matinee isn't a break-even situation. It's a straight loss, dressed up as a normal business day. Staffing makes this worse, not better. I still need someone at the box office, someone running concessions, someone checking tickets, and a projectionist on call, whether 3 people show up or 300 do. Movie theater labor is famously low wage, which helps, but it's not zero. And scheduling enough staff for a hoped-for crowd that doesn't show up is its own quiet way to bleed money. I've genuinely scheduled 4 people for a Tuesday matinee that sold 6 tickets total. I still had to pay all 4 of them. And there's a much bigger cloud over my entire industry that I try not to think about after closing. Streaming windows keep getting shorter. Some major releases now hit streaming just weeks after they leave theaters, sometimes almost simultaneously. Every time that theatrical window shrinks, the reason for someone to leave their couch shrinks right along with it. My entire business depends on people physically walking through my doors before they can just wait a few weeks and watch it at home for free. I am, in a very real sense, racing a couch. And the couch is winning some weeks. All right, let's put some actual numbers to this. Because the theory is nice, but the spreadsheet is where the truth lives. Let's say my theater does about $3 million a year in total revenue. Ticket sales make up the bigger slice of that. But after the distributor's cut, my actual retained margin on tickets nets out fairly thin. Concessions on a much smaller revenue base routinely contribute the majority of my actual profit for the year, thanks to that 80 to 90% margin. Industry-wide, movie theaters typically land around a 10 to 20% overall net profit margin once everything is accounted for. On $3 million in revenue, that's a business clearing somewhere between $300,000 and $600,000 a year if I'm running things well. Let's actually walk through a strong weekend because it's genuinely satisfying when it happens. A major blockbuster opens, every screen packed for 3 straight days, and my concession lines never stop moving. Ticket revenue for that weekend might land around $120,000 across all my screens combined. After the distributor's cut on a brand new release, my actual retained share might be closer to $40,000 or $50,000 of that. But concessions that same weekend, riding on all that foot traffic, might bring in another $60,000 in sales at that beautiful 85% margin. Add it up, and one great opening weekend can genuinely carry my numbers for the whole month. Now let's talk about a bad stretch because I've had a few. A disappointing summer with a few box office flops in a row means fewer people walking through my doors at all. Say attendance drops by a third compared to a normal month. My fixed costs, staff, rent, utilities, insurance don't drop by a third along with it. Fewer people in seats means fewer popcorn buckets sold, and popcorn is where my actual profit lives. A slow month can turn my healthy margin into something closer to break even, or worse, depending on how empty those seats stayed. And unlike a restaurant, I can't exactly pivot my screens to sell something else on a slow Tuesday night. So here's my honest advice from a man who stood in an empty lobby more than once wondering where everyone went. If you're buying a movie theater because you love movies, that's a wonderful reason to visit one. It is not a business plan. If you're buying a movie theater because you want to become genuinely excellent at moving a concession line fast and making a bucket of popcorn feel like a luxury item, you might actually have what it takes. I still love the moment the lights go down and a packed room goes quiet together. That part is real and it's genuinely worth something. But I stopped pretending that feeling is what pays my rent. The popcorn pays my rent. I bought a movie theater thinking I was selling movies. What I actually bought was a very large room that exists to sell popcorn at an enormous markup, with a movie playing to keep people patient in line. If you want to see what happens when I buy the next terrible business idea, subscribe because there's always a next one.